I'm going to send his Dark Rebellion back on the top of his extra deck, or in his extra deck rather. Draconian's going to revive his Utopia. I'm going to normal summon Cactus Bouncer. Now if he does any shenanigans, he can't special summon Garbo unless he gets rid of Alce or Mardell. So that's GG, guys. That's GG. What is up, all you beautiful people? It is I, AkemiTCG, back here with a brand new video. Rikka Fairy Control. If you've been a subscriber to this channel for a while, I do a lot of Rikka Fairy decks and deck profile. I really enjoy playing that deck. And a lot of people have asked, where is the Rikka Fairy Control build, where you just play with Rikkas and a whole bunch of traps and Ash Blossoms, hand traps, etc. And I'm going to be quite frank, I've been testing with it for a while. In my personal opinion, it's not as good as Rikka Fairy combo, with the Arrow Mages and the Generator package pretty much going second. In my opinion, it is slightly better. What? Why would you say such a thing? AkemiTCG, what are you doing? What are you talking about? I'll get into it as we go into the video. But if you're new to this channel, hi, my name is AkemiTCG. I pretty much do every single kind of Yu-Gi-Oh content under the blue. I do like Rikkas, do like Dragon Maids, a lot of the waifu decks I really like. Also Crusadia's Charmers. Coming soon, alright? So, bottom line is, I want you to become a better duelist. If you want to help me join the cause, you want to join this journey, make sure to drop a like, comment, subscribe down below. Anyways, we're going to break this video down into several parts. We're going to do the deck profile first. I don't have the physical deck profile because I do not think it's as good as the combo build, but it's on ygopro. And we're going to have replays, test hands, and I'm just going to talk about it and compare kind of like two decks, compare and contrast the two. Anyways, let's get to it. Alright everyone, we are back here in the den. Let's go right into the whole deck. So here's the build I am using currently. I know there's going to be a lot of disagreements with this particular build, but regardless, this is the Rikka Fairy Control build that I seem to like a lot. You can play the Generator package here. However, since I am playing Extravagance, you run an additional risk of drawing into Har, which is something you have to consider. I tried running the Generator package in it, and I don't know if I was just unlucky, but every time I resolve Extravagance, I drew into Har. So, anecdotally, could happen. Absolutely could happen. But if you're looking for like a budget alternative, because everything here is quite cheap besides obviously the Extravagance, the Imperms, and for some people Ash is also out of the budget range. So, for Ash, you can play potentially Veilers and Ogres. Those are really cheap options, or Crows, very budget options, but Ogre is really good in this format right now, and Veiler is also really good because you do not want your opponent to resolve Verte ever. So instead of Extrav, you can play Desires as well, but however, if you play Desires, you have to bunk up some of these ratios to at least 2 or 3. So for Rose Girl, if you're playing Desires, you should play at least 2, and then potentially it could get more expensive because Mardell does add up as well. You don't necessarily need to play Mardell in this control build, but I personally like it because you get to summon, you go Lone Fire into Mardell, attack into something, then you can still generate a plus off of Mardell, so you have a play for next turn, which I really like a lot. And for Imperm, cheaper options again is Veiler, Crow, etc. Something that hand traps during your opponent's turn is very beneficial. But that's pretty much the whole bread and butter Rikka Fairy Control build that I'm playing right now. Feel free to use it, feel free to test it out, and give me your feedback down below. But there is many different ways you can play this deck. My personal favorite is Rikka Fairy combo, but however, I'll be working on a budget build and also a lair build afterwards. So a couple of notable things, because you guys can see the cards obviously, so I don't want to explain word for word what each of the cards do, but 2 Snowdrops, because we are playing the Extravagance, so we can draw into it more, and it's kind of a brick if you draw into multiples of these. You kind of never want to see multiples of these, especially since Rikka Petal is a starter with 1-for-1 and Glamour too. So you have 3 Glamour, 1-for-1, 3 Petals, so that's what, 7 cards, and then Lone Fire, so that's 10 cards that are potentially starters in this deck. So it's going to be quite often where you're going to be able to search Snowdrop, and also you can recur it off of Stranae. With Extravagance, you have to be kind of careful though. You draw it later on in the game, it's kind of okay-ish because you hypothetically have already used up your resources. But if you draw it early in the game, you can kind of bank on it and pray that it doesn't hit your triple teardrop. That's the only one I run triple of because I'm worried that this is gonna get hit by extravagance. There are games where I've won where I've hit the triple teardrop and you just play like Alsay, Aurea, etc. instead. Because as long as you have Strene, you can pop off into Kanzashi, Aurea, Alsay, or Teardrop, whichever one you want, as long as you tribute Strene with a material. And another noteworthy card is Dampier. So Dampier is a very interesting card. It's 2 level 6s. Unfortunately, it's not a plant. If it was plant, that'd be busted. But if you use a monster with the level that's owned by your opponent for the exceed summon this card, treat it as level 6. So if you Ricochet one of your opponent's cards, or you use Draconian Prison of Snow and Sky and it has a level, like you can revive someone's Dragoon, and I guess you can attack with it, or you take someone's, oh, you can't even take the Dragoon, but you take someone's monster that has a level and you summon Mudon, you have an instant Dampier, and then Dampier can detach one and just send any card your opponent controls to the graveyard. And if you happen to send a monster card to their graveyard, or if a monster is struck by battle and sent to your opponent's graveyard, you can detach one material from this card and then special summon one of those monsters to your field in defense position. So you can send one of their cards. It doesn't destroy, doesn't target, nothing. Oh, well, it does. My bad, I'm lying, guys. It does target, however, it does not destroy. So you straight up send a card to the graveyard and you can special summon one of those monsters to your field in defense. So it comes in handy, guys. It comes in handy, which is pretty fire. And with the sideboard, obviously the sideboard is going to be pricey. I will do a budget build upcoming quite soon for this build, or for this deck rather. But however, just as a heads up, it's not going to be as good as, you know, playing cards that mass wipe, for example, like Lightning Storm, evenly match, triple tactical to deal with Dragoon, etc. So anyways, let's go into a couple death stands and see what we get here. Ideally, you want to go first with this build anyways. You're going to use Glamour as kind of a bait because you already have the Paddle and the Snowdrop in hand. But if not, you can pop off here. Go Mudon, grab a second Mudon. I should have grabbed a Primula. I was playing a little bit too fast. But now, we can get Primula this time. Get that Primula. Add this card to the hand. And then Snowdrop. Bam. Summon that Mudon. Then Mudon's effect, you're going to get yourself a sheet. And then you're going to chain Primula as well. These two activate at the same time. So you can chain block, quote unquote chain block, the Mudon. So they can't Ash or Search. So you grab Sheet or Trank, completely up to you. You didn't use Mudon's effect yet, so you can hold on to that. And here. So you can go for the Swifty 8 and go into Teardrop, and or you can go into Strene and have like a kind of like a backup play here. We're keeping this on the field because they have to kill it, or else you get a free playmaker the next turn. So now what you're gonna have is end phase. Oh, I didn't even grab anything off of Strene. Guys, I'm bad. So what's gonna happen is, so Strene hypothetically would have grabbed you the Primula back into your hand so you can recur it for next turn. And that's pretty much not a bad going first hand. So let's go again. Oh, these hands are pretty fire. 1 for 1. I'm gonna send the Petal to get a Petal from the deck. Because Lone Fire can be used on separate turns, so you do have a play for next turn. Grab your Snowdrop. Bam, bam. So with the Lone Fire here, you can choose. You can get Mardell to Mudon, or you can straight up just summon Mudon straight up. It's completely up to you how you want to do it. But because I already have a Lone Fire in my hand, I have no reason for me to go into Mardell right now. So I just want to summon Mudon. Just set up for next plays afterwards. So here, you're in like a little bit of crossroads here. So do you want to grab another Rikka card? You can choose to do that. If you believe this card will hurt your opponent immensely, you can grab Ricochet. Or if you want to play super defensive, you grab Rikka Twinkody instead. But since you're going first, you can't... The problem is you can't really gauge what deck your opponent's playing because you have no idea. That's just how it is. So Rikka Sheet is usually the optimal option most of the time. So bam here, and then we're gonna set that Rikka Sheet and pass. Alright. Now onto the couple replays. I'm gonna show you guys a couple replays that I picked up today. And I'm gonna show you guys how this deck works. So I'm playing against Heroes. I believe he wins the rock paper scissors. I'm awfully bad at rock paper scissors, so that's just how it be. So he summons the Bubble Man, his last card in his hand. So I'm thinking like, oh, this guy's gonna dwell on me. He's gonna do something crazy, but nah. He just summons Utopia and summons Utopia Prime? Question mark? Question mark? And has a bottomless and compulse. So my guy is stuck in 2010 indefinitely, and summons the lightning too. I'm like, dude, like, what is? Like, does he have an Avarice face down? That's what I was wondering. I thought he had an Avarice face down. So anyways, I opened double Extravagance, which is pretty garbo. However, obviously I'm going to play one of the Extravagances. And what do I hit? So I hit 2 Teardrops, but luckily I'm playing 3. That's exactly the reason why you play 3. And then I literally hit one of every other card, so that wasn't that bad at all. So 1-for-1 my Erika as bait first. You don't want to use your normal summon and then shotgun it really fast. You want to use that 1-for-1 and use it as bait to bait your opponent out. And use the Rikka Petal. I'm gonna grab myself a Snowdrop so I can start making plays. Good thing these are all under 15, so I don't get bottomless. Erika is gonna revive itself because I did tribute the Petal to summon Snowdrop. So bang bang. So I'm gonna stack the other two. Obviously I want to keep the Snowdrop on the field because you never know. But he's gonna use Bottomless's effect, and good thing Bottomless does not negate the summon. I can just tame Teardrop and then sack his Utopia, the lightning. But I lose my Teardrop, and by the way guys, this is a long duel. It's the grind. He's gonna summon Blazeman, get that copy of Polymerization in his hand. He's gonna use Polymerization. I'm gonna use Rikka Sheet because he has no cards in his hand and no other cards in his field. You can't use Polymerization with a single card besides, like, actually I can't think of a single card Polymerization, but I'm Rikka Sheeting to tribute my card to take one of his cards. So that way his Polymerization just resolves without effect because he has no more, he can't fuse anything, he just doesn't have any more cards. So because I tributed something, Erika is going to come back. In hindsight, I shouldn't have done this because now my Erika is banished for the rest of the game and I only have one. But like, it happens. So my Petal comes back during end phase because Liquid Soldier is now a plant because I sheeted it and he has a compulse, so Rikka Petal is going to grab Snowdrop. I'm going to use the same thing. I'm not normal summoning yet because I'm being careful. I'm being careful here. So here I know he's in like huddle mode where he literally topped like a Blazeman and then popped off with it. So I'm like, okay, what if I just top deck his Liquid Soldier? Because actually not Liquid Soldier. I would top deck his back row in this case. But he compulses my card, so nonetheless, he got me. He got me. I do have a Draconian. He sends a Shadow Mist with Blazeman and he's gonna add Bubble Man. He's gonna normal summon Shadow Mist. I don't know why he didn't special summon the Bubble Man to do more damage. I'm personally not quite sure. But Petal at the end phase goes back. I'm not using this right now because I want to save it for when I actually need it. Get that Rose Girl back into my hand. I couldn't get it back last turn because my Alsay died because of Compulse. So as you can see here, I'm not playing the Extrav because I need enough gas for game before I actually play the Extrav. So Mudan and Primula are gonna chain. Mudan's gonna get me that copy of Tranquility. Primula is gonna up her level by 2. I'm gonna summon Kanzashi, the Rico Queen, and just run over his 2 cards. I don't want to Shadow Mist because if it gets sent to the graveyard, then stuff happens. And in Heroes, regardless of what version you're playing, you don't want that to happen. So resolves Monk without effect. So on summon here, I don't know why I didn't get the prompt for this. But on summon here, I should have just actually on summon here, do I do anything? Nope, never mind. I thought I had sheet. Never mind, guys. It's gonna add that Bubble Man back. Special summon that Bubble Man, go for Arc. And I'm like, okay, he's targeting my Mardell. Silent Honor Arc targets. I'm gonna use Tranquility, tribute the Mardell. So he loses his target, he loses materials, and now he has to deal with 2 big bodies on the board. And then Mardell's gonna activate. And then Kanzashi's gonna activate, it's so good! Kanzashi's gonna activate, summon another Snowdrop. Now there's like, what is going on here, YouTube? Gonna run over that and then run over Kanzashi. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Kanzashi overstayed its welcome anyways. And here, oh man, I have a bouncer off of Mardell. It's over. I'm gonna send his Dark Rebellion back on the top of his extra deck, or in his extra deck rather. Draconian's gonna revive his Utopia. I'm gonna normal summon Cactus Bouncer. Now if he does any shenanigans, he can't special summon Garbo unless he gets rid of Alce or Mardell. So that's GG, guys. That's GG. Spicy. Game 2. Rikka versus anti-meta. So I'm playing against some anti-meta Necroface, Banisher deck. I'm pretty sure he's playing Grenmaju. Oh wait, he's playing 60 cards. So this duel is hilarious. I actually love this duel. Also, by the way, this deck will not be able to stand up to Infernobles. Just a stern warning. It's quite hard. So let's set a whole bunch of cards, and knowing me, I'm like terrified of Torrential Tribute. I know people are playing it, but I did draw into Extravagance. I'm banishing my 6, draw my 2. I got my Hellbore in permanent. I'm like, okay, this is pretty good. This is P good. He draws in his Fear mode, and this is so funny how this plays out. So I'm flipping the Primula to go into Strene. He's gonna strike it. I did not normal summon yet, because that's the bait. I use the Petal, add a card to the hand, and then I use Snowdrop to summon both Snowdrop and Lonefire. Lonefire is gonna get myself that copy of Mardell. Use her effect to get Cactus Bouncer. So what I'm doing here is, since I saw the Solemn Strike and he has back row, I'm not gonna risk it. I'm gonna at least try to kill his Necrophase first before I go into any Exceeds. So I attack over his Necrophase main phase 2 Snowdrop, and then summon Teardrop in defense, just in case he has the Grenmaju, and put it in defense because if they attack something in attack mode, I'm gonna die. Heavy Storm Dusters, that kind of sucks, but Petal comes back. So I'm just gonna attack here. It's so funny because right here, I was like in my head, I'm like, what if this dude has a Sphere mode in his hand? And I watched the replay and he has Sphere mode. So I'm just playing around it without knowing. So I'm playing around Sphere mode. So all I'm doing is, I'm just gonna play a second Extrav because I'm feeling like I'm feeling pretty good right now. Because I just have that Teardrop. If he has no Battle Traps, he's done. He's done for. So he draws into the Cosmic. And here, I also was playing around Torrential as well. And guess what he has in his back row? Torrential. So guys, sometimes all you had to do is poke for game. Like, these two were irrelevant, so you didn't have to pop it. But Torrential, Warning, he couldn't pay for it. And then Strike, he couldn't pay for these two either because he had no life. So all I had to do was just keep poking. If I had normal summon or even flip summon any monsters, I would have been in big trouble here. But we take those. Next game is versus Paleo. Oh boy, Paleo is not a fun matchup. So 1 for 1. Again, that is the bait. So I just Rikka Glamour here. And then grab my Snowdrop. Snowdrop is going to summon both Primula in herself. Summon Strene. And then I'm going to grab my Primula back into my hand. And then Trank. Trank it up, dude. So he sets 4. And for whatever reason, this form I'm piloting to play around Torrential. So I'm just going to use Tranquility during his end phase to summon both of my Snowdrops and my Petal back. And my Strene is also going to summon Kanzashi, because I'm, again, worried about Torrential. And luckily enough, I searched Torrential. Wood Fury of Kairu Shin. Add that Mudon. Use Kanzashi. And then do Chain Link 3, Primula, Chain Link 2, Mudon, Chain Link 1, Kanzashi to summon back Strene. So he's gonna Candida into Alce because he knows. My guy knows about Alce. I should have summoned Alce first if I knew, but he definitely knows how to play at least around this deck. So he Dynamiscus my Teardrop, but I just tribute my Teardrop instead because I'd rather have it in the graveyard than banish. He used Reckless Greed to chain Canadia. Uses Lost Wind on my Kanzashi, and I'm like, okay, that's fine, that's fine. So Torrential his cards, his Toad, and I should have. I don't know if I should have sheeted his Toad, but I knew he didn't have any Aqua Monsters in his hand. So I flipped the Alce, and I knew he had Torrential, so I just flipped Fury of Kairu Shin just to get out of the way. If I just attacked here, I think. So this flips it down, and then this Okay, okay. So I drew into this, which actually isn't beneficial in this deck, because my opponent doesn't play that many, what is it? Monsters to begin with. Because the Toad just recurs itself. Oh boy, Opabinia. I thought he was gonna summon Toad here, I was ready. With the she's actually really iffy here. He's gonna activate Olanides from his hand. Pop his card, Ice Dragon's Prison, Chainlink 4, Chainlink 3, Chainlink 2. All this stuff is going on here. And I'm like, this is where I had a V8 moment. So I just ricochet his monster here. Because I'm like, oh, this guy doesn't have another activation in the graveyard. That's 3 of them. But I counted wrong. My math was wrong. So I just revived his card so he can just summon Toad for free. So Pato just comes back. Next turn, I draw into Sheet. Here's the Death Frog. He Toad and then takes my monster. Man, Toad is such an annoying card, guys. It's good. The deck's really good. Unfortunately, it does lose the Lightning Storm though, but it's okay. It's okay. Ricochet, and then here is the Death. Because I Ricochet, and then I just realized, I'm like, wait, he can just tribute my Petal to take control of one of my cards. And then with Toad, he's going to summon Duke Frog, and I am stuck. I'm stuck. Last but not least, guys. Last but not least, I'm playing against ABCs, and it's going to be interesting. So Union Hanger gets his deck so much gas. I completely forgot how good Union Hanger as a field spell is. Especially with Union Driver, that lets you swap out. He's gonna double B, go into Union Carrier, resolve B both. Union Carrier is gonna equip the Photon Orbital. This card better get reprinted soon. This deck is gonna be so much fun once Orbital gets reprinted, because Orbital it's expensive, for sure. Gonna summon the Galaxy Soldier, summon the Infinity. I'm like, okay, you got Infinity and you got ABC. So he has 1 negate, 1 interruption, and then is he playing the Armed Dragon deck? Oh shoot, he is. What? That's so cool. Alright, I didn't even know that. Oh, that's sick. Okay, whatever. So he has 1 negate, 1 interruption. So I want to play Extravagance. I drew into Ash 1 turn too late, by the way, which blows. So he extravs, obviously he's gonna negate that. So now I'm like, okay, you don't have a negate. I'm gonna grab Hellbore, and the reason why I grab Hellbore is ABC Dragon Buster targets a monster on the field, and Hellbore jukes around exactly that. So on summon, he's gonna try to yeet it, but I have Hellbore in my hand, so I'm like, okay. And then he just summons his 3 monsters back. Not sure why he did this early, but it's okay. And with Hanger, he's gonna equip A into it. Add Snowdrop to the hand. Bam bam. Lone Fire's gonna tribute itself, summon Mardell. Mardell, I'm gonna grab myself a copy of Mudon, and to be quite frank, I have no idea how I'm gonna win this duel. Because if he plays like Verte or anything, I'm absolutely royally screwed, because Verte is really good in this deck. Or any Lynx in general, just really good in this deck. So I did what I can, just ran over both of his monsters and then distributed his affinity. But now next turn, my fate most likely sealed. Most likely sealed. It's gonna summon the core, Union Carrier, B and C. So this deck actually pops off super hard once you get stuff into the graveyard. And I'm excited. I do want to build this deck too. It's so fun. Yo, Ojama deck profile 1. So he summons Cerberus to force my hand to get rid of Teardrop. So with the Teardrop, I just detach and get rid of his Wide Dragon Head, because I'm worried he's gonna summon A to Z on me and I'm gonna feel disgraced. Because it'd be like that. He Monster Reborns his monster, and then I'm like, yeah. He didn't actually need to, because what do you have? He had a lot of gas left, but he got that one. Anyways, everyone, just to explain one thing, is this deck has a lot of flaws. To top off the video, I know it's getting quite long, but this deck has a lot of flaws. You're tributing monsters for cost, and let's say they strike your monster in your hand. Now you lost a monster in the field, and you lost that monster, that Snowdrop in your hand. Tributing monsters for cost, they summon multiple cards at the same time, so if your opponent is playing Blue Eyes, you're gonna have a really bad time, because Blue Eyes Spirits prevents 2 or more monsters from being summoned simultaneously. Second issue is, this deck really needs some sort of Omni Negate or some way to get a lot of pluses. Like, you can argue that Rikka Petal gives you pluses, but in order to summon Teardrop, you have to minus. You have to absolutely minus. And even then, you kind of just break even with your opponent's cards. Whereas other cards, like let's say like Ecclesia, you normal summon the Ecclesia, you special summon the Flodis, and Flodis itself is essentially a plus. So that is, you know, food for thought, something to think about, especially when we're playing Rogue and we're playing plants. And the third issue is this deck locks you into plants, which is pretty rough. You're gonna have a decent time against Rogue. Against Rogue, this deck does extremely well. Extremely well. But if you're playing against meta like Infernoble, Cosmos, etc., no, not Cosmos. Cosmos are not meta, you didn't hear that. Anyways, if you're playing against meta, you're gonna have a really tough time. The only way it gets better, in my opinion, is if you play the Going Second version, which was shown in my my channel a few months ago, but I will update it so it's more recent. Like, you have to play cards like Triple Tactical Talents to get over people's boards. You really have to do this if you want to get over boards. You know, stuff like Evenly Matched. People are playing around Lightning Storm, so you can. I would still see this permanently as a side, but Evenly Matched, just to play around people's boards, you would main the triples and you would main the Evenly Matched, and that way you can make your combos go off. But even though you would run these 6 cards, there's no guarantee you draw them, and especially if you pay an Armor and Elect for them. In all honesty, there's a lot of better budget decks out there, like such as Zodiac. So anyways, hope y'all enjoyed this deck profile for pure Rikkas. I'm AkemiTCG. I'll see you guys next time. Alright, bye guys.
The world ends now.